Understanding the psychological effects of sexual assault. A path to healing. Sexual assault, SA, is a traumatic event that leaves deep psychological scars on its survivors, often impacting them in ways that are not immediately visible to the outside world. A conversation initiated by a fan brought this issue to the forefront, shedding light on the struggles faced by many survivors. One fan shared, "I'm struggling with SA. It's harder than losing someone because you don't expect this to happen to you. It's a childhood trauma that lingers, and the silence is overwhelming." These words resonate deeply, as they reflect an unspoken reality that many people silently endure. For survivors, the journey of healing from sexual assault is far from linear. It can be incredibly challenging, as many survivors experience a wide range of psychological, emotional, and physical symptoms. It's essential to provide a space where these challenges can be discussed openly and with empathy, so that survivors can feel supported in their healing journey. If you're a survivor watching this, it's crucial to know that your feelings are valid, and there is no shame in seeking help. The impact on mental health. A hidden battle. The mental health consequences of sexual assault are often profound and long-lasting. A key psychological condition that survivors may experience is complex post-traumatic stress disorder, CPTSD. Unlike traditional PTSD, which typically arises from a single traumatic event, CPTSD results from prolonged exposure to trauma, such as sexual assault. This condition involves the typical symptoms of PTSD, like flashbacks and emotional numbing, but also includes more complex challenges such as difficulties with self-regulation, emotional instability, and strained interpersonal relationships. Studies have shown that CPTSD can significantly impair a person's ability to cope with stress and maintain healthy relationships. For example, a survivor might struggle to trust their partner, or may feel disconnected from their own body. These effects can be subtle, unfolding over time, and it's important to recognize that healing is not a quick or linear process. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, is often recommended for survivors, as it provides practical tools to manage anxiety, depressive symptoms, and the aftermath of trauma. The silent struggles. Trust, intimacy, and relationships. Sexual trauma often disrupts a survivor's ability to trust others, including family, friends, and romantic partners. This can lead to significant intimacy issues, as survivors might fear vulnerability or re-traumatization in their relationships. For instance, many survivors may find it difficult to engage in intimate relationships due to the fear of being hurt again. This fear can manifest as avoidance or, on the other hand, as hypersexuality, where the individual engages in risky sexual behaviors as a way of coping with feelings of powerlessness or shame. These issues are not uncommon. Research shows that around 51.1% of female victims report experiencing sexual assault by an intimate partner, and 40.8% of assaults occur at the hands of acquaintances. This highlights the often hidden nature of sexual violence, where it takes place in familiar, private settings. It's critical to understand that sexual violence can happen to anyone, regardless of their gender, background, or identity. Coping mechanisms. Dissociation and emotional numbing. For many survivors, dissociation becomes a common coping mechanism. This psychological state helps individuals detach from their emotions or the traumatic event itself. While dissociation can serve as a temporary defense mechanism, it often results in emotional numbness, leaving individuals feeling disconnected from their own bodies and surroundings. Over time, dissociation can contribute to further psychological difficulties, such as depression or anxiety. Self-esteem and body image are also severely impacted by sexual trauma. Survivors often experience feelings of worthlessness, shame, or guilt, leading to self-destructive behaviors like self-harm or eating disorders. These behaviors may be a means of regaining control over one's body or numbing the pain of the trauma. As research indicates, sexual trauma can alter a person's perception of their own body, which is often accompanied by intrusive thoughts and anxiety. Flashbacks and triggers. Managing emotional distress. Flashbacks are another common symptom for survivors. These vivid, intrusive memories can occur unexpectedly, often triggered by sensory stimuli such as certain smells, sounds, or places. A survivor may feel as if the traumatic event is happening all over again, causing overwhelming distress. In these moments, it's crucial for survivors to have coping techniques, such as the Rule of 5, a grounding exercise that involves focusing on what can be seen, touched, heard, smelled, and tasted. This technique can help survivors regain a sense of control over their environment and reduce the intensity of the flashback. The grief of lost self. Mourning the pre-trauma identity. Sexual assault can lead to a profound sense of grief for the version of oneself that existed before the trauma. Many survivors mourn the loss of their former selves, struggling with feelings of guilt, anger, and self-blame. These emotions can trigger a cycle of rumination, where survivors replay the traumatic event over and over, questioning what could have been done differently. It's important to acknowledge that there is no closure to be found in these thoughts. Sexual trauma is not something that can be fixed by understanding the why. Healing involves accepting that the trauma cannot be undone, and that the survivor is not to blame. The trauma does not define you, and it's crucial to seek out supportive relationships and engage in self-care practices to rebuild self-esteem. Healing is a journey, and it's important to approach it with patience, compassion, and understanding. Seeking support and recovery. The path to healing. Recovery from sexual trauma is possible. It is a process that involves acknowledging the pain, seeking professional help, and finding ways to reclaim your sense of self-worth. Survivors can benefit from professional counseling or therapy, as well as connecting with support groups that provide a safe and empathetic space for healing. It's vital to remember that no one should face these challenges alone. If you are a survivor, reach out to those who can support you, whether that's a trusted friend, a therapist, or a support group. Your journey to healing is unique, but you are not defined by what has happened to you. You deserve compassion, support, and understanding as you move forward. In conclusion, sexual assault is a horrific violation that can deeply affect a survivor's mental health. Through empathy, education, and support, we can help survivors reclaim their power, rebuild their self-esteem, and find healing. Let's continue to work together to create a world where survivors feel supported, understood, and empowered. If you or someone you know is struggling, please seek help from a professional. Remember, recovery is possible, and no one should face these challenges alone. Sexual assault has a profound impact on survivors, affecting their mental health, self-esteem, and relationships. In this video, we explore the lasting psychological effects of sexual assault, the symptoms that may arise, and the path to healing. Understanding the trauma and finding support is crucial for survivors to regain control and rebuild their lives.